Hey, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. You got it. This is Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called
What's up, Tim McSee?
I'm your little buttercup. You
Yeah, Mr. Bettinger's here. How are you doing, buddy? Carlisle Espley, how you doing, Carlisle?
Please tell me
you better believe it. Jay Sandberg. Gilbert, what's happening? Show me. How are you, pal? Conway, how are you doing, buddy? Man, I had a great time with you at the show this weekend. That was fun. Glad you could make it both days. That was a great time, brother. Yeah. Randall Miller, how are you, buddy? Gary Lee, what's happening? Michael Bradley's here. Jeff Santangelo. Hello, Jeff. Robert Mills, what's up with you, buddy? Live Green Fishing Machine. Love having you here, pal. Thanks for stopping in. Joseph Cascarino. What's up, Joe? Good to see you, buddy. Johnny Kopp, how are you, pal? Galen Heathcote, how are you, buddy? Real nice seeing you the other week. Appreciate you stopping. Shane McNaughton, what's happening? E-Stacks Fishing, how are you doing, buddy? Edward Renoski, Robert Mills. Man, everybody's here tonight. Andrew Winters, Henry Churchill. How you doing, buddy? Jackie McNaughton, yeah. Mike Ayer. I know, buddy. I know. Yeah, baby. Jeff Reed, how are you doing? Roland Kennard, how are you? Man, I tell you, we got a great crowd tonight. Grimy Fishing's here. Bob Austin. Man. Marky. Renee, how are you? Alvin Valentine, what's happening? Man, we got a great pile of people here. Wow, everybody's shining on. Man, I'll tell you guys are awesome. Appreciate everybody stopping. Ray Cruz is stopping in from the 717. That's right. Yeah, Alvin Valentine, little Rich. How are you guys, everybody, doing tonight, man? I am so happy to see you guys stopping in. My name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord, and we are Tackle Shop Live. We come at you every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Yes, we do. Every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I forgot to hit the record button. But and we just love doing this show, man. I'll tell you right now. You know, this is on the eve of the biggest show on the East Coast, or not the eve, the exit of the biggest show of the East Coast, the Bass Fest 2026.
You know what you need?
This past weekend.
A thesaurus.
A thesaurus, yeah. I do.
And then read it.
Well, you know, I could what do they call that? I could page through it here and there.
Well, you don't know, nobody uses that stuff anymore because we have spell check.
Mm-hmm.
We have suggested. When you're typing, it suggests AI. I'm telling you, man, if I had all this stuff when I was in high school,
it wouldn't be fair.
I mean, I'd be launching. I'd be the one launching them rockets down on the Space Coast.
Yeah, you're right.
It wouldn't be called SpaceX.
Well, maybe that's the kind of brain those guys have. AI brains.
I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. But yeah, boy, for everybody that came to the show this year, thank you so much. I hope you really enjoyed yourself. It seemed like everybody had a great time. It was a fun event this year. Thank you to all of our sponsors, all of the reps that were here, the manufacturer representatives really showed up and did a great job for us, and supplied us with a lot of great prizes also that we gave out. So just a great time. And really want to thank the pros who showed up, Ish Monroe and Josh Bertrand and GDP.
Those guys were putting some. Those guys were getting their frequent flyer Myers built up a little bit.
I mean, I listened to Jamie Caldwell's seminar, a little bit of it, like 10 minutes of it. And when it was over, I felt like I was going to go. I wanted to go out and punch a wall. He pumped me up so much. I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to go, man. And he's just a great guy.
He gives a great seminar. He's a power fisherman.
Yeah.
He lives in the Bassin Triangle of North Carolina.
Yep.
And you can get shallow and you can catch 8-pounders every day.
Yeah.
Me and you, we fished a triangle.
Yeah. We were there
many times.
Yeah. Yep.
And we shall return.
Oh, for sure.
Many times.
And that's a great, you know what? That's a great trip down there. You have lots of options and there's freaking phenomenal lakes down there.
All the lakes fish great, shallow and deep.
Yeah.
You have Harris Lake.
Yeah. Harris.
You have Jordan Lake.
Yep. Falls is just up the road.
Falls Lake is like, half that lake is the most intense target-oriented cover.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
That kind of fishing, for us.
Yeah. Just cool.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Just a cool area down there. And there's a lot of fishing. There's just a lot of fishing, a lot of opportunities down there. It's like, those guys, they could do so many different things, just any weekend. They can just drive at, an hour and they're at some of the greatest fishing in the country. So
there's 5 or 6 killer lakes there. Now, the other cool thing about that area, it's also the Golden Triangle of barbecue.
Oh boy. We found out about that.
We did. Now I don't know, we're going to have to go back down for the Bassin and the barbecue. We're due.
We are.
We might have to catch a nice little 3-day window in the end of February.
That would be fun.
And drop the hammer.
I don't know.
You only need if you got 3 days, you can get some serious fishing in.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We're going to look at that.
We definitely had a good time.
We're going to look at that.
But anyway, we just want to thank you guys. It was a great event. It was a great year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like.
The weather was great.
I'll tell you what I like. So we had Stephen Browning.
Oh, geez.
Josh Bertrand.
Wow.
I think those were the only 2 pros that were never here before.
Yeah. Ish Monroe was here.
Ish has been here numerous times. GDP is a regular.
Yeah.
But my point is this. When you go to different boat shows and different events to do seminars, we talk about it all the time. You literally don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
You could have you could drive 4 hours for a seminar and have 4 people in the audience and you're just deflated.
Yeah.
And the night before the Bass Fest, these guys were stopping in to get the lay of the land and meet the players. And
we told them.
At some point, the conversation shifted to the seminar schedule because I believe one of the guys that was here Thursday night was starting at 9 a.m., 9:30 or something. I said, one thing about the seminar situation here that you need to know when you're getting your game face on tomorrow is, number one, you're dealing with a whole different level of consumer. You're dealing with a hardcore Bassin crowd.
The SFT
so
crowd.
You need to come in heavy.
Yep.
Number 2, there's 150 chairs in the tent, and you will have 30 to 40 people probably standing at several of these seminars. So they were very relieved to hear that. And then when they did their seminars, it was killer. So that went great. My other takeaway from Bass Fest is, as usual, you guys, the behind the scenes action that you don't see, the drama, the straight up drama. And I just see Michael Sims checked in here, who reminded me of some of this drama. I'm getting to you, Mr. Sims. So we had a giant Normark Rapala shipment that was late for Bass Fest. It was ordered a while ago, but
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. I mean, whatever. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like the shirt says. And of course, it shows up on a tractor trailer the first day of Bass Fest when the guy couldn't even turn down the street because it was so crowded. And of course, everybody jumps to the work and they haul everything in the warehouse, and we stay late and load it up, get in early, and everybody that knows what they're doing with product jumps on, all hands on ship, and we bang it out. All the new Crush City, all the new DTs, all the new claptails, all the stuff we're going to break down for you over the next several weeks. So I'm back there, and when the seminars are going on, a lot of people get pulled out of the store. So you got
a couple minutes.
It's kind of normal for about an hour.
Yeah.
Before the next tide comes in. And you got to be game faced when they get back. There's still a bunch of people shopping, and a lot of them will take that opportunity that don't go to a seminar to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
So we got a whole crew, and we are banging this Crush City up on the wall because it's all the new Crush City. It literally doubled our inventory. And I'm just going to let you know.
Yeah.
We got the most impressive Crush City inventory around.
Yeah.
Not tooting my horn, but I am.
For sure.
So I'm back there, man, and it's Skeeter Steve and the Stallion, myself, Jimmy Arnold, Charles, our Rapala rep, and we're just in the process. And this guy's tapping me on the shoulder, and I'm like, look back, and I forget what he said, but he was like, it was Sims, and he's like saying something to me, and he's kind of hugging me up and dabbing me up, and I don't recognize him at all. I mean, normally, when you're in retail for as many years as I am, you can bluff your way through anything.
I don't know how you can't recognize Sims.
Not even a little bit.
I mean, come on.
And then a couple minutes later, De Palma comes back like, you blew off my best friend in the whole world. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know. My bad. So, it was great to see you, Mike. And, not for nothing, it took you 14 years to get to the shop here.
Yeah, but I was talking with him, and he was like, I got to get back here more often. This is awesome.
Plus a display of public nudity later that night, which was unacceptable. But, all in a day at Bass Fest. Next up, boys, if you missed it, if you think it's too far to drive, if you're whatever excuses you're making, if you like to catch smallmouth, bass, and if you don't, I would immediately exit. There's probably a podcast going on right now on like cross stitch or whatever, knitting sheep to shawl. That's more your speed.
Sheep to shawl. That's this week up at the farm show.
Well, if you don't like smallmouth fishing, I would get on a sheep to shawl podcast, because February the 7th, we are going to do our one-day extravaganza, which really should be 2 days, and we apologize for that. But it hits us at a bad time in the calendar. So we do 1 day, full-on, full-court press, blowout, smallmouth Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's an awesome event.
I want you to come in hard for this one, because we're not just going to talk local Susquehanna River smallmouth. Although you could do a smallmouth Saturday, Friday, and Sunday on that. Okay. It's 444 miles long.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about, lake smallmouth fishing. We're going to talk about techniques that transcend all types of waters, whatever. It's going to be smallmouth. But something cool happened today. We got a confirmation from our Z-Man rep. We had something brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to go through the correct processes to respect everybody's time and their position in their company. And we had a guy that was recommended to us for smallmouth Saturday. And I was like, you know what? That's a freaking awesome recommendation. And we've met this gentleman before. He's a legend in the kayak fishing community. He's pretty much pioneer of the kayak fishing.
But
pioneered.
He's a phenomenal smallmouth fisherman.
Phenomenal angler,
big time.
And coming to Smallmouth Saturday on the 7th to do a seminar and hang out at the shop and talk, the fine minutia of smallmouth fishing is Mr. Jeff Little.
Yeah, that's great.
And
excited about that.
We are very excited to have him in here. He's going to really add to the flavor of the event.
Yep.
We're looking for that kind of cutting edge, the master of his craft.
Well, and I also talked you into doing another seminar for that event. Which, we all love George's seminars, very in-depth, very detailed.
More than likely, Mike Sims will be here for that, just for my seminar. More than likely.
Right. Wow, that's really exciting. But you said something about traveling in here. You don't get a chance to come out to the tent, but when I go out there and introduce everybody, I have a few minutes ahead of time, and I ask everybody who traveled an hour, and a bunch of guys would hold their hand up. Who traveled 2 hours, and a bunch of people would hold their hand up. Who traveled 3 hours? Well,
we get the process.
Yeah. So I went all the way up to 5 hours, and there was a couple of people that held their hand up, and we were like, oh my gosh. And then I started to move on, and these couple of guys, they were like, whoa, man, we are 6.5 hours.
That's what I'm talking about.
They were 6.5 hours, came in for the weekend, stayed overnight at one of our great establishments here in Columbia.
That's what I'm talking about.
And at the end of the show, I talked to them, and I said, I appreciate it very much. And they were like, man, it was a great time and a great event. They'll be back again next year. So
I'll tell you what, man,
it's just cool to see people.
It is. And there's an energy to it. We do Bass Fest, we do Smallmouth Saturday, we do our Cabin Fever sale.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a big sale event. Okay. We're a retail outlet. We need to sell lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a big sale event, and we sell lots of stuff.
Yeah.
The pricing is incredible, but it's much, much more than that.
Yeah. That's a thing.
I mean, the energy is unbelievable. It's the kickoff of the new year, and it's going down. Okay. It's going down. So if you want to get in on the action, February the 7th.
Yeah.
Smallmouth Saturday.
Get ready for it.
Get ready.
It's going to be awesome.
And we want you here because we're going to talk smallmouth fishing until
that's it.
Until we're talked out. We're going to use every word in the dictionary.
We're not talking about anything else but smallmouth, and that's what's great about it. And all the local guides will be here. You can pick their brains and talk to them, and it's just a really, really a good time.
I'm going like, I'm going into some stuff that, it's going to be, next level. Yeah, next level for sure.
Yep. Yeah. And then also this weekend we have Shimano Saturday. We're kicking off a weekend series that we're going to run for the next couple of months on certain products. Talking tech. Talking about the product in here in the shop and some great deals. So that kicks off this weekend on Saturday. If you get an opportunity to come in Saturday for Shimano Saturday, it'll definitely be worth your while for sure.
I would definitely recommend it. If you've never been here, our Shimano G Loomis, Jackal, and Power Pro selection alone is worth your trip. It's pretty substantial.
Yeah.
But we're going to break down all the new rods, all the new reels, and have some nice sales.
Yeah.
Something to do. It's going to be like another major cold front coming in. We're actually, we're doing your mental health a favor. Is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We have our Cabin Fever sale in March, but up until then, we're all pent up. We got all this energy, and so we're going to have these these great little events for you guys all winter long, all the way into the spring until you guys get out
It's on.
and go fishing.
Yep.
So if you're not already, although everybody here is, make sure you sign up for our emailers, and you make sure you share and like all of our stuff, because you want to make sure you're connected with us for the rest of this winter anyway, because we are going to bring it to you guys 150%. So that was a really great time, and it was really great. The other nice thing, my takeaway is, it's really nice to see all you guys that watch Tackle Shop Live and say hi and shake your hands and put a face to a name, and just talk cool stuff. And that's for me, that was the best part of the whole show, is to see all you guys hanging out and do it and hanging with us. But yeah, George, we have a couple beer sponsors tonight.
Oh, we do. So we have to put names on them to remember them all, because we're old. But got a couple guys that come down to a lot of our events from upstate New York, shop with us online a lot. And Paul Flieger and his crew, and they went local. We're actually not drinking Paul's beer till next week, but we don't want to forget him. And we have the Wolf Hollow Brewing Company, the Wolf Hollow Amber Ale.
Excited
So
about that.
next week, we're going to break this one down, courtesy of Paul Flieger, who I'm sure is watching. Paul's
guaranteed he's watching.
Paul's a big time supporter of the channel here,
Yeah.
and also drives down from upstate New York for our events, shops with us online, brings his crew with him. Those guys are great.
Yep.
They're the first ones in the door.
Yep.
On the first day of Bass Fest, and the last ones to leave on the second day of Bass Fest.
Absolutely.
And they're here for every seminar. They're in the shop all day long. They're big supporters of Susquehanna, and we really appreciate you, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul put a little note on there. Thanks to the Tackle Shop Live crew. So, Paul, we're gonna enjoy your Amber Ale next week.
Yep.
This week we are enjoying, and this was actually brought in as a combo for the show by a regular,
great listener,
longtime follower.
Yeah, Matthew.
And he happens to work at one of the greatest beer joints, or as they say in Philly, John's in town, Trogs, and he brought us some Nugget Nectar, which, by the way, doesn't suck.
Yeah, very good.
Matthew, I don't see Matthew on here.
Oh, I'm
sure he's on.
He'll be chiming in. He might be working late, but he'll be chiming on for sure.
Thank you, Matthew, and we're enjoying it to the last drop.
Yep. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you. All right. Well, there you have it. Recap of Bass Fest was a great time, and can't wait till the next one. So, all right. Well, we're a tackle shop. We love talking about tackle, and one of the things we do here is a segment called Tackle Talk. Yeah, Jack. Of course, there's room for a boat and truck parking.
Always.
Boat and truck parking comes first, so you can park anywhere you want. Doesn't matter, on the grass, off the grass, in the parking lot, wherever.
Yeah,
park anywhere.
We're on a side street too, so
yeah, it's all good.
You're good to go, brother.
What do you got for us, George?
Well, I've got a bunch of the new Crush City I want to break down. We got a very nice care package back in like June of all the new Crush City samples.
Yeah.
Different colors, different baits, different sizes.
Yeah.
So we had, the whole summer and fall to fish them and form our opinions.
Yeah. And sorry about this, but cameraman Nick is away tonight. He had to do some stuff with his wife, take care of his wife tonight. So I'm going to be the cameraman Mike tonight.
Get it. I'm letting Mike set up the camera here. I want to get deep in the weeds with you guys on some of these new Crush City baits. You know, it's not often that a soft plastic brand can jump in 1 year and become like a major player in either fresh or saltwater. And, you know, Rapala tried it once before and they learned a hard lesson. But they came back and, I mean, they are spot on. Their first year with Crush City was trajectory like this. This year right here, these baits are incredible. The first bait I want to show you is the salted Ned roll. You know, it's cold water. It's cold weather. There's a lot of finesse required. We're fishing a lot of Ned rigs. There is a lot of Ned rigs. I mean, Z-Man kind of created and owns the category. But this is also TPE. Okay, so it's in that vein, but you got a little bigger profile, just a little bit, than a regular TRD. You've got a little bit of a paddle type tail, right? We have a very awesome option in the Ned world. And by the way, we fished this thing quite a bit. Up until we stopped fishing here right before the holidays. And it's salt. It's got a salt base. It is TPE. It floats pretty good. Stands up pretty good. The colors are awesome. This color right here, Mike, is Oxblood. Oxblood Red Flake, which is a classic finesse color, right? I mean, that color comes to us from the old days of Robo Worm. And there's so many colors. I mean, I don't even know how many colors. There's 12, 14 colors. I mean, good colors too. I mean, green pumpkin, blue flake. I just grabbed a couple, right? I mean, there's green pumpkin. There's green pumpkin money. There's green pumpkin, blue flake. It just goes on and on. How about Ghost Morning Dawn? Reminds me a lot of an Aaron's Morning Dawn in Robo Worm. Right? Very good finesse color. You know, Aaron's Morning Dawn in Robo Worm has that pearly kind of faded pearly belly that this has. And I'll tell you what, you get Epic Eric to break down his take on that color and what he does with it. You're going to run to get some. And then, of course, Goby, which is just a classic, you know, the deal. Goby. Clearwater Killer. On and on and on. So that's the salted Ned roll. That is a new Crush City bait. Perfectly suited for your cold weather fishing, but not just your cold weather fishing. There's times in every day that you fish where you have to play the finesse game. There's lulls. There's situations that call for finesse. And this bait should be in your box. So in this week's Tackle Talk, we're bringing you some new Crush City. We're leading it off with the salted Ned roll. Now, I want to give you some information here. $6.49 for a 7 count. 3 1/4 inch. And if any of those prices sound funky to you, you might want to double check them on the website because sometimes I'm making mistakes on that, but not often. Usually just to keep you on your toes. I got to pass a message off to Mike here. So this might look hinky, but this is how we do the show. Next up, Crush City. Now, this one I really like. And I got a couple things to say to you about it. So, obviously, the Mooch Minnow, right? So, I want to show you the Mooch Minnow if you're not familiar with it. The Mooch Minnow is, a minnow shaken scoper's dream. 3.5 inch. Also a tremendous finesse chatterbait trailer. If you're fishing like a baby jack or a smaller chatterbait, this is a great finesse chatterbait trailer. You get a lot of hunting action out of your bait. But what we needed was a little bit of a bigger Mooch Minnow. And again, this comes in a ton of colors. Check this out. You guys are going to love this. If you like looking at tackle, you like talking about tackle, you're going to love this. So it's TPE, super stretchy, floaty. Look at the size difference here. Let me get this one here. Look at the size difference. Look at the profile difference. Look at that. So now we have a bigger shaker, okay, for shaking, but an awesome chatterbait trailer. And I want you to think about this on your chatterbait and your swim jig, particularly your chatterbait. This style of trailer for clearer water, it enhances the hunting action of your chatterbait. It's more subtle. I mean, very effective. This was very effective on the small chatterbaits. This is going to be killer on a standard size chatterbait. This is going to be killer, obviously, for shaking a minnow. I mean, this is some killer stuff. Okay, so this is now the new Crush City is Mooch Minnow is 4.5 inch. So it's roughly an inch longer, than the original. And a bunch of colors. So you're looking at $6.99 a pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a pack. Now, keep in mind, these are TPE, unless you lose it or you have the day of your life, you're going to catch a lot of fish, probably a whole day's worth of fishing on one of these. And if you catch that many fish that it's destroyed, you're going to be okay with that. Okay. So these things are very durable. They last a long time and they catch fish. And this size, I feel like this size was badly needed. So I wanted to show that to you guys. I know Mike likes it. And Mike, he's no finesse guy. He can shake a minnow when he has to, but I know he liked it as a chatterbait trailer. So, that we were looking for, that was pretty cool. Now, something that we really like is boot foot swim bait, right? And let me move some stuff here. Give me a second. Work with me here. So one of the most successful baits in the Crush City lineup was the Mare. Okay. Now, the Mare is not TPE. The Mare is more of a traditional plastic, okay? And, of course, they did it in a They did it in a little 2.5 inch. Right? They did it in a, look at my notes here because there's a lot going on here. They did it in a 3. Two and a half, 3. Okay. They did it in a 4, 3, 4. Now let's have a gap here. Now we have the 3.5. 3. 3.5. 4. And it is a perfect tweener size. I mean, when this stuff was first presented, I'm like, there's no way. We have to have this. We need this. I mean, the electric shad color. I mean, the shad color, okay? Colors, insane. Here's a 4-inch. I showed you that. So the 3.5-inch mare, and the mare, that dog will hunt. The mare will hunt. So the mare is now 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Piles of colors. Extremely fishy bait. I mean, you're looking at trailer on a chatterbait, trailer on a swim jig. You're looking at fishing it on a jig head. I mean, you're looking at multiple options there, and it is legit, right? So that is the mare 3.5, $6.99 for an 8 count. Okay, your count goes up because it's not TPE. You know, you're going to chew through a few of those because you're going to catch a lot of fish on them. I will say this for durability. They're very durable. We have caught a pile of fish on them. They hold up pretty well. I'm just going to give them credit where credit's due. It's good stuff. Now, this next one, and we're going to save the rest of the Crush City for another, like next week. But this next one we got to get into. This is one of my favorites. And this is called the Jerk. You know, I'm a fluke type bait guy all day long for multiple reasons. Okay, so we have TPE. Going to catch a pile of fish on this. But shaking a minnow. I love this style of bait as a trailer on a baby jack. I absolutely love it. I probably have one rigged up here. Let me get the old baby jack box out here. That's right. The baby jacks have turned into a baby jack box. And I spent a lot of time trying to get my trailers dialed in on these baby jacks. And I got to tell you, this is the Z-Man 3.5 inch. This bad boy hunts. This bad boy has the profile. And now we have the 3.5 inch Jerk. So I'm trailing my baby jack with this. I am shaking a minnow with this, and I am drop shotting with this. Same thing I'm doing with my Z-Man. This is another brand, another set of colors. You get in that clear water up north, I'm going to tell you right now, colors is where it's at, right? It's about the same exact size as that, 3.5 inch. So the 3.5 inch Jerk TPE, $6.99 for a 7 count. Ton of colors. Here we go. Check a couple of these colors out. Obviously, you got to have pearl white, right? This is called pearl white. You like that? Huh? Back in the old days, Mike and I were good friends with Danny Joe Humphrey. And we were like, we spent a lot of time hanging out together. And, you know, you'd go into Danny Joe's booth. This is pre-internet, back in the day. You know, we get nostalgic. We're some nostalgic boys here around here. We get kind of nostalgic. We talk about back in the day. This is show season, so we be on the road every week. And, you know, one of our allies was Danny Joe Humphreys, and he'd be sitting in his booth on a stool at the end of the day, you know, with his shoe off, picking his toe or something. And he'd be showing us he was JDM before they called it JDM. He was bringing baits over here back in the day. And, you know, he looks at me and Mike serious as a heart attack, and he goes, "You see this one here with the yellowhead? We call that yellowhead." So when I say you see this one that looks like it's pearl white and it's pearl white, that's what we think of. Interjection. Michael Bradley. Does TPE react with skirt material? No, it doesn't. I leave my TPE rigged jackhammers and baby jacks and whatnot all the time in my box. And now you don't want to put a trailer in the same slot that's not TPE. But if you look in this box here, I'll get the big jackhammer box out. I mean, these things are from last season, okay? Here we go. One of my favorite combinations. The black and blue with the black and blue last year. This thing's been on here for months, okay, laying in the box. No reaction. Now, if you put it in a slot, if you throw another one in there that's got like a regular plastic on and let it sit in your box like that, you're going to be disappointed in yourself. Like over here, I have a regular Little Dipper. He's perfect. He's been in that slot laying against a chartreuse and white. And I haven't been fishing in a couple months, so this box has been used here at the shop for seminars and whatnot and the show. So, yeah, does not react with skirt material. That one's been rigged up literally since probably August. And it's clean and good to go. So, if you exercise a little caution, you're good to go. Okay, so that's the jerk. Check this one out here. Smelt. I mean, come on. Look at that smelt right there. What do we got here? Look at this. This color, this is the number one color they make, in my opinion. In every bait they make, Tennessee shad. I think it's the number one bait in Z-Man. I think it's the number one bait in Crush. Here's another one I really like. Perch. So, I mean, for drop shotting, for shaking, and for, I think, overlooked as a baby jack trailer, your bait will come to life with that on there as a trailer. So, wanted to bring that to you. And then next week, I'm going to break down a couple more Crush City baits. But the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is one of my personal most favorite baits in the shop here, especially in the spring, the summer, and the fall. So this is my 3 month of the year. So from spring through fall, and by fall I mean the end of November. So the only time it's not one of my favorite baits is December, January, and February. And I'm a big time swim jig guy. Absolutely cannot get enough swim jigs. Mike and I fish a ton of swim jigs. There is a ton of swim jigs. I mean, just off the top of my head, the Nomad Machete, which is a finesse swim jig, awesome. The Greenfish Tackle swim jig, awesome. The Dirty Jigs swim jig, awesome. The Strike King Tour Grade swim jig, awesome. The Hackney swim jig, awesome. Do I have any other word other than awesome? I don't know. But this is one of my favorite. It's a finesse swim jig. And the other ones come along too. But this one I'm so excited to talk to you about. This is the Dirty Jig Finesse Jig. It's not new, okay? It might be new to you, or you may have never tried it, but it's spectacular. All right, now I need to point a few things out to you on this. We need to talk about this. Let me get my cameraman to come around here and suit up with his, leave that camera right there. I need him to suit up with his headpiece and his gear here.
What do you got here, buddy?
So you and I have caught a truckload of fish on this jig. You never even knew that you were fishing this jig. I mean, I would just give you a swim jig out of our box.
Yeah.
This is, and I have in finesse swim jig, I absolutely love Greg's Machete from Nomad. That's new, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably, I'll be straight up honest with you, my all-time favorite finesse swim jig. You see that skirt? That is a half-cut skirt. So in other words, if you put a skirt on your jig or your spinnerbait, right, and then you took this half and you took cutting this half off. So now you have the same number of strands, but look how hollow it is. Okay. The weed guard, lighter. This is a lighter weed guard.
Did you say who makes this?
Dirty Jigs. Finesse swim jig.
Yeah, Dirty Jigs finesse
swim jig. This is a lighter. This hook is critical part of this. When you are fishing a finesse swim jig, so you're going to fish this on 15 fluorocarbon on a medium heavy rod. That hook is I call a mid-wire.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you're fishing those situations, if you're a river fisherman, you're fishing current, this swim jig needs to be in your arsenal. Another thing about this swim jig, you have it in 1/4 and 3/8. Now, you can get other swim jigs in 1/4. We carry a bunch of 1/4 ounce swim jigs, but this 1/4 ounce swim jig is the deal, okay? And trailer-wise, that's the $1 million question, and it's just like a chatterbait. It's all about the trailer. Now, I do want to point out a few trailers for you to fish on this swim jig, and I don't care if you're smallmouth fishing in a river. I don't care if you're spotted bass fishing in a river. I don't care if you're in a lake, a tidal water situation. I don't care. You can catch a 7-pounder on here because you're going to have the right rod. It's not going to flex out on you. There's a time and a place for a finesse swim jig. Now, some trailers that aren't quite as popular with everyone, but they should be, is the twin tail grub. Okay, now you can get your twin tail grub in different profiles. All right. So you need to pay attention. This is the creepy crawler. This is the Fat Albert. And they fit this swim jig absolutely perfectly. Okay. This jig was built with these trailers in mind. You need to go through the process of defining the trailer. That the swim jig does a lot, but the trailer makes the difference. You're going to fish a twin tail grub. You're going to fish a swim bait. Okay. So you're going to fish, and I'm going to recommend a couple to you. I'm going to recommend the Little Dipper.
Awesome trailer.
Awesome.
Caught a ton of fish on it.
I'm going to recommend the Z-Man minnows. Normally we're spouting diesel minnows. Okay. Obviously TPE.
A little smaller, nice, still has a nice body in there.
Fits this jig.
And I think that's what you were saying about the half skirt. It allows the profile of the body that you're putting on. I mean, to shine.
This on a jig head catches a bunch of fish. This on this jig with that skirt, is deadly. But you have to go through your progression. You have to fish, and no one ever asked me this question when I say that. They're like, well, what's your clue? Well, I have two clues. Like, I just think the question is, you always talk about changing trailers on the swim jig and the chatterbait, which to me, those are two of the greatest vessels ever for carrying a trailer. And it's all about the trailer. You can put the wrong trailer on in a lot of days, it matters. Mm-hmm. And no one ever really, once in a while, but no one ever really says, well, what's your clue? Well, I have two clues for you, and they're pretty obvious if you think about it. One, if you're fishing this trailer, this is a Little Dipper, and you're getting short strikes to the point where they're tearing the tail off.
Say that 3 times. Time
and time again. Or they're not going to tear the tail off of this. That's a project. But you're going to miss them. Well, they're hitting it. No, they're striking at it. If they want to eat something, a bass does not think about it. A bass eats something. If they're not eating it and they're hitting it, they're not eating it. So to me, that tells me if I'm fishing a swim jig on there, and I don't care if it worked great. I mean, a swim bait on my trailer, on my swim jig. I don't care if it worked great yesterday. Mm-hmm. If it's not happening, I'm going to either put a crawl or a twin tail grub on. Now, I kind of am motivated to go to the crawl in an effort to keep things somewhat simple. Just a double claw, skinny body.
Love that combination.
Mike will tell you, we're huge fans of a rage crawl. We like the Maxent also. This is what do they call this thing? This is the stank bug. You can put you a stank bug up on there.
You'll see too a time, George, when that really switches over to that trailer, when those crawfish start coming
there's
out.
Definitely a time.
There's a time when those crawfish really come out of the mud in the springtime, and the water's up and it's warming really good, and those crawfish are really coming up and being active. The fish really make a switch over to them, and then that's when we really start relying on that crawl trailer. And it's something that the rest of the year we'll mess with on and off, but there's a little period where there are just crawfish orientated big time, and they like that double tail on the back, and you better be messing with your trailers when that happens, otherwise you're going to miss it.
Well, I think it's very important to focus in on, a question that we don't get asked a lot.
Yeah.
How do you know when to change?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I gave some examples on that swim bait.
But not only that, George,
it goes the other way too.
When you catch fish and they're spitting up shad, well, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start with a swim bait.
But
if I'm missing fish, and I made color changes, and they're tearing the tail off my bait, or they should be tearing the tail off my bait, I'm going to put a crawl on.
Yeah, but
if I have a crawl on
Yeah.
that same thing happens, I'm going to put a swim bait on.
Well, not only that, but there's tips all day long. You're catching fish. You're kind of seeing what's going on. They're spitting some things up, and that's something that I look at all the time. Do they have crawfish in them? Are they spitting up a lot of crawfish? Is it a shad thing? Along with the short strikes, along with some other things, that's how you determine your trailer.
But you and I have both seen days where they're
really on something.
A shad spawn, or particularly like a minnow type spawn, which is the same thing. You can call it a shad spawn, minnow, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The bait spawning. We saw it in Alabama on a private lake in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
We got the fish on a lake that a gentleman built that was good friends with Ray Scott, and they started building these lakes that had these Magumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
And there was minnows spawning, not shad, minnows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can call it a shad spawn. I don't care. If I should have a swim bait on. If they're not eating that bait, I will put a crawl trailer on there.
Yeah.
I know it's a crawl. You know it's a crawl. That fish doesn't know it's a crawl. It triggers him in a certain way. Now, we talked about the twin tail grub. We talked about the swim bait. We talked about the crawl. You got to keep your life simple. You don't have all day to go through 99 trailers, 99 colors. But you do need the options. Now, a gentleman asked a great question. What about a regular crawl, a regular grub? I love it.
Yeah.
The regular grub on the upper Mississippi River is a famous swim jig trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely famous.
Yeah.
But I would say if you want to go regular grub, I would consider that the same as a twin tail grub. Okay. I'm trying to break this down in a manner of like keeping it simple. Now, colors. Okay. Now this jig is made by Dirty Jigs. And one thing Dirty Jigs does is they make a ton of colors. All right. So the simplest way to look at this.
They make some beautiful, beautiful,
killer,
great colors.
The simplest way to look at colors on a swim jig. Okay. And I don't care where you live. When it's a bait fish environment, shad,
mm-hmm.
We're going to say shad. Okay. You need white. Something white. Now, can it have chartreuse in it? Sure. But you need white, or some kind of white, or a white shad, or a pearl shiner. If you look at our selection of this jig on our website, you'll see plenty of that. Okay. You need a like green pumpkin type color, and you need a black and blue type color. Now, everybody's going to have situations that arise, which is why there's so many colors, where a little bit of chartreuse is killer. Or another accent, red. Listen, you can do that with your trailer. Mm-hmm. If you have white swim jigs and your buddy's whacking them on a white swim jig with chartreuse, put a trailer on that's either chartreuse or white and chartreuse.
Yeah.
Or spike it.
They make great ones.
Dip it.
They make great ones.
If you don't have it, dip it.
Yeah.
You need the chartreuse. I'm going to tell you something. I got on a bite with a buddy of mine by the name of Joey Evering. And he's a SFT pro staffer. You've all met him if you've ever come to the shop and worked an event with us. Came to an event with us. Been to a show with us. Great fisherman. And we got on this killer spawn bite in a tidal water fishery, the Upper Chesapeake Bay. I mean, we freaking stroked them. And we went through a lot of adjustments because first of all, it was a major flood tide. Now, any of you that fish tidal water, when you get to the boat ramp in the morning and the water's in the parking lot from a flood tide, you should just go get breakfast. Okay, because you're in a world of hurt. Of course,
was that the killifish pattern?
Nope, that was another pattern. You're in a world of hurt. Now listen, eventually that tide's going to go out, and we're going to be there for it. Now, that day, and I've never seen this, but you had to have a good amount of chartreuse in your chatterbait. I mean, it was like chartreuse and white. Or he was throwing a chartreuse sexy shad chatterbait. Well, I didn't have anything like that. My main chatterbait box was in my other boat. I had a piddling of a assortment. But what I did have was I had pearl white skinny dippers, and I had chartreuse spike it.
Mm-hmm.
Voila.
Yeah.
And we trucked them. I mean, we smoked them. So, keep in mind your color selections when you're shopping. Keep in mind about the color of the jig, but also keep in mind about what you can do with your trailer for color. Because sometimes color matters, as I just illustrated. And we've all experienced that. Me and you've experienced a bunch. Everybody watching's experienced a bunch. But if you have white swim jig, a green pumpkin swim jig, a black and blue swim jig, and, you're fishing with somebody or you get dialed in to where you need a bunch of chartreuse, get your spike it out. Or orange, get your spike it out. Or red, put a red trailer on a green pumpkin. I mean, you can build off of that basis. Here's a pearl shad. This is one of my favorites. It's called Pearl Ghost Shiner. Okay. I'm going to get cameraman Mike on it. He's on the case. I'm going to show you a couple colors. So this color here, the first one I showed you, is Dirty Shad. I really like it. Okay. Deep down inside, a lot of us are tackle junkies. I'm one. I can do what I just told you about adding the chartreuse trailer. I also like that jig. I do a lot of smallmouth fishing with a swim jig. So in a lot of cases where you're throwing a chatterbait or a spinnerbait, I'm throwing a swim jig, and a lot. So I have some different colors in my jet boat that I don't really carry in my other boat. But here's one of my favorites for all over the country. I've used this color all over the place. This is called Pearl Ghost Shiner. It's just another variation of white. It's got a little bit of flash in it. And guess what, guys? If the flash is too much, it's like 6 strands. Rip them out. Okay? Make adjustments. That's a white. Okay? Good stuff. Let me show you a couple more. Because I know deep down inside you guys love looking at these things. Now, here's another good one. We talk about green pumpkin a lot. How about a little red? How about some red fleck? Just a little. Okay. Look at that. So if if your buddies catch them on green pumpkin and you got dirty 420, put it on. Bluegill pattern. Really what green pumpkin represents a lot, especially with the right trailer. This is a tremendous bluegill color. This is called Warmouth. And they make a bluegill, obviously, but look at that little bit of chartreuse in there. So check them out. It's Dirty Jigs. I don't want to spoil all the surprises. There's so many killer colors. It's Dirty Jigs, Finesse Swim Jig. I know you got a bunch of swim jigs, but if you're a river smallmouth fisherman, or if you go up north for smallmouth, or if you are in a tough bite on a tidal water fishery or a lake, you're going to want a finesse swim jig in your arsenal. And there is a bunch of great ones out there. One of my favorites that I want to highlight for you, $5.99 a jig, Dirty Jigs, VMC hook, half-cut skirt.
Are you?
You will not be disappointed.
One of the questions we had: do you trim the trailer, the skirt,
weed guard?
Weed guard.
You can say that. No, I don't on this jig, and I'm going to tell you why. Great question. Do we trim the weed guard? I mean, this is a soft weed guard. Okay, this is not like a standard fiber weed guard. This is a a smaller diameter and about half as many strands. So it compresses very easily. So I don't trim it because then it will compress and I'll get snagged a little more. So I just leave it like that. I take this jig out of the pack and I put it to work.
Yeah, the thing about the dirty jigs is that's what they do. They match the technique, and then they put the skirts on and the weed guards, and they match the hook and everything to that whole system. And that's one thing I noticed about them. They're really good about that. Flipping jigs have a real heavy skirt on there, a big heavy duty weed guard that you trim, and because you're getting into all that nastiness. Not the swim jig; it's a lot thinner.
All right, I got one last thing for you, and this is exciting. We are some jig head junkies. I mean, we are jig head. We're just crazy about jig heads. And this is one of our favorite jig heads from VMC. It's called the Hybrid Swim Jig. Swim bait jig, my bad. And the reason they call it a swim bait jig is you're going to put a boot foot swim bait on there. Okay, but this part right here is the spring. See that spring right there? So this is a head that Jacob Wheeler promoted real hard for his minnow shaking, but I like it whether I'm shaking a minnow or not. But we get asked a ton of questions on rigging this. Okay, so I thought I would rig one for you. Why not? We're all having a good time here. So again, line it up with whatever you're going to put on. Okay. I'm going to go out and shake this fluke right here and catch me a giant. So you see where your hook wants to come out, and thread it on to where you want your hook to come out, and bring your hook out. Right now, you're going to come up on that spring, and you're going to start putting the bait. You have to work it around, and you're going to start threading the bait onto that spring. So, you get to here. Okay, you got to get this bulk around this hook. All right, so you do that. See, it's already half on. But the benefit is, and you can't do this with TPE, but the benefit is when you're all rigged up, nice and straight, this thing is locked on here. So it takes a lot of fish catches and ripping and tearing for this to rip off of here. Now, it'll tear here. Your hook will tear up along that bait, but it'll still be attached, and you'll still be able to catch fish on it. So you get a lot. It's more maintenance free. Plus, you have a really good quality VMC hook, 60-degree eye. I mean, this thing is a primo, but I don't know if anybody noticed it yet. I know we have some sharp people watching. That paint job is new. That is their new gizzard shad color. And that size is new. That is their new 1/8 ounce. They never made this in 1/8 ounce, and they never made it anything other than plain lead. So now we have 1/8 through half, natural, plain lead, and gizzard shad. And that, as they say, is the story there. $4.99 a pack. Okay. Which is pretty reasonable. And it's a great jig. So that's your tackle talk for the week. And appreciate you hanging on for that. Yeah. So good stuff, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Good stuff, in my opinion.
We love talking tackle.
Well, you got to talk tackle. And also, I love the fact, one of the things I like doing is getting questions and spinning off on that product. into like a technique, because we love talking technique.
Oh yeah. Well,
So-
that jig head with the spring on it is just allowing you to fish that bait longer and to make multiple casts in there, catch a fish, and get right back in there without having to stop and rig up. That's really important stuff, and it allows you to just get those couple extra fish out of that bait. That means a lot.
It's just an efficiency thing.
Plus it's an awesome hook, and an awesome style head. I love the new paint job on it.
It's just an efficiency thing and getting a little more life out of your baits. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's made right. Boy, VMC they do some great stuff, man.
They do everything great.
They do a lot of really cool stuff.
They do it all great. They're owned by Rapala.
Yeah, man, it's just last 5 years, man, they've been just pumping out stuff. Ike and Ellie's worked with them a lot on some really cool rigs, and now Jacob Wheeler and all those guys. I mean, they just got the terminal tackle and covered big time. Pretty cool stuff. All right, George.
It's back, baby.
Yeah, tournaments are back.
Tournament season.
Yeah.
Tournament season's back every week until November. We're going to talk about tournaments, the good, the bad, the ugly. What did we learn?
Yeah.
Opinions. We're going to put opinions out there because we got opinions and we feel like people need to hear them.
Yeah.
Check this out. Before we go into that, we're going to do the rig of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
which is our weekly deal.
Every week we do rig of the week, and the rig of the week is sponsored by Nomad Designs, makers of great hard baits and plastic baits, and our buddy GDP jig series. So you definitely want to check that stuff out from Nomad Designs. And now what you got to do is you got to like and share. And the way you do that is do the @ Nomad Designs. That'll pop up. Click on it. Let them know that you clicked on there, and then you'll be registered for the $25 gift card that we give away for every rig of the week, courtesy of Nomad Designs. So every week we get a winner. And last week, our winner, if you want to get a drum roll going here, I'm gonna see if I can hit the right one.
You can't.
There we go. The winner last week's rig of the week is Matthew Seggies. I think we got that right.
Well, we had some debate on the last name.
Yep.
And that's what we decided to go with.
Yep. So Matthew Seggies, get a hold of us, or we'll contact you. And you are the winner of the $25 SFT gift card that you can use either online or in here in the shop. And
Thanks for watching.
You are the winner of the rig of the week this week.
$25.
So yep, at Nomad Designs, when you see it pop
you could
up,
buy 4.
click on it, and you guys will be.
You could buy 4 Dirty Jigs Finesse Swim Jigs.
Oh wow!
With your gift card.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
You could buy 4 Crush City salted Ned rolls.
Yeah. Nice.
Should I go on?
You can buy several GDP finesse jigs.
You can buy
the wee bit.
3
wee bits.
Yes.
So lots of good stuff out there. Check out Nomad Designs. Click on our website. Check out their product line. Fantastic stuff. And we appreciate everything they do for us here. And they give you guys a great opportunity to win a $25 gift card. So get in on the draw, and we will pull another one next week.
We
Absolutely.
Will. All right, guys. So this week's rig of the week might seem a little lame to some of you. Might seem like I took a cop out, but I didn't. I get asked, we get asked a lot of questions about, a lot of things in here, and, repetitive questions and stuff that just reoccurs year after year after year needs to be discussed year after year after year. And I'm going to give you a prime example. A prime example. I could do this as rig of the week, but it'd be pretty lame. How to put a bobber stop on your line. I would say 99.9% of the people that I talk to that have never used a bobber stop absolutely cannot conceptualize putting that bobber stop on their line. Can't do it. If you come in the shop here and you look around this counter, there is packs of bobber stops opened, laying around. Why? Because we are demonstrating how to put a bobber stop on your line. So, me thinking about the show and thinking about all of you, I say to myself, self, sometimes you gotta go over things that you think are like redundant. And that's what we're doing tonight. So if you've never seen this before, you're going to love it. If you have seen it before, be a great time to go hit the head. Or you might just want to hear it again, because I'm going to drop some knowledge on here. So one of the most underused baits, and we talk about this bait 2 to 3 times a year, is a tube. All right, all of you who have heard all of our tube discussion who are now like, oh my God, he's going to talk about a tube. Good time to take a break. But I want you to watch it because I think this is interesting. I think the tube is one of the most underutilized baits in existence. It goes back to when Denny Brauer won the Classic. It goes back to when Bobby Garland was fishing tubes. It goes back to the day. Okay? And a lot of people, now, my local guys that fish the Susquehanna River, they're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Right? I'm talking about rigging this tube up. Now, one of the things I like to talk to you about is fishing around rock and wood with a jig head. Okay? Now, a lot of guys are going to Texas rig, but there's something magical about putting the jig head inside the tube. All right, so Texas rig, our weight's going to be out here. That tube's going to want to fall more downward. Jig head lead inside, right? And I realize we did the stupid rig, which is another way of accomplishing this. Great. I just think this is like the ultimate tube rig. This is a wire weed guard tube. And so the question I get asked a lot, we do in here, is how do you rig that? I mean, we get asked this question daily. So it's pretty simple. This is the SFT tube head. Okay, it's an SFT branded product. It's got a piano wire keeper. Now, this keeper, you need to exercise this keeper. So when I take this out of the pack, I take that keeper and I stretch it up and down, back and forth. What I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of the stiffness out of it, because we have learned that if we make this keeper even 1/1000th thinner, it's not enough. If we go 1/1000th thicker, it's no good. This is the size, but you want to work it. Now, these keepers are put in these molds by hand, so sometimes they'll be back a little farther. See how the barb is here and the wire goes back to here? So here's what I like to do. I like to arch that wire a little bit so that it's in front of that barb. Can it be behind the barb? Yes, but make it well behind the barb. It's really hard to see. Oh, that's good. That's good work there, Mike. All right, let's do it. So we're going to take our tube, any size you want, from 2.5 to 4.5. We're going to take our wire We're going to put our wire up inside that tube, and we're going to fish that wire and the jig head, through as a unit. Okay, and just take your time. What you're looking for is you're looking for that wire to poke out, not on the top, but right where you want the eye of the hook. Okay, so you're going to kind of see it. You see it pushing up on the tube. You get it right there. Look at that. Push that tube up on there. There's the eye of the hook. Now, I want you to look where the eye of the hook is. That's where the wire came out. I want you to look how that tube is going up on that hook. That's a 3/0 hook. I use that exact same jig head on every tube I fish from 2.5 on up. You see how that's riding up on her? That's no good. So I'm going to take the hook. I'm going to take the tube. I'm going to use the hook to tear the tube until it's hanging perfectly straight. I tore that tube. You can see it torn there with the hook. Now, I got my wire all softened up to where I want it. I got it bent the way I want it. Now, if I want it behind, if it's a longer wire, I want it behind the barb. I want to make sure it's well behind the barb. I don't want it right at the barb. If it's a little shorter wire, I put a little arc in it, and I keep it in front of the barb. And that, my good friends, is the perfectly rigged tube head with a wire weed guard. And if you're fishing rock, wood, current, if you're a river guy, that bad boy right there, by putting that jig head inside that tube, when that tube falls and it wanders, right? It doesn't fall. That bullet weight takes it down more on a straight plane. By putting that tube inside there, it wanders, and we get that seductive fall, which is why a jig head inside of a tube is, in many cases, superior. Now, if you're fishing this in current, okay, and you get snagged a lot. This one right here is about 90% less snags than an open hook. An open hook jig head will get snagged 9 times more than this. But if you're fishing in current, let's say you're a river fisherman, and your river is nasty like the Susquehanna, or you're fishing a river with a lot of wood in it like the Mississippi, whatever, and you cast upstream, that's why you're getting snagged so much. You in current, here's your tip of the day. Tip of the day, no charge with the rig of the week. This is like a 2-for-1 deal. Never cast up current. Always cast perpendicular to the current or even slightly down current. And fish the swing. So if you want to hit this piece of wood here, position your boat so you can cast here and swing it down through there in a river situation. Now, when I say never, I don't really mean never. I mean like almost never. You know, you get in some calmer areas.
Yeah, the bottom's a little different.
You get in some, you know, atypical situations.
Yeah.
Or if you fish, you know, a river that you don't get snagged on a lot, like the St. Lawrence River, you don't get snagged a lot.
Yeah.
Feel free to cast up river. But what happens when you cast up river is you never know where your bait is. You think you know where it's at, but you're 100% wrong all the time with a tube. Because a tube floats around. It wanders around. When you pick it up, it wanders around. It does what we want it to do. So you're getting the rig of the week is the SFT tube jig head, weedless tube jig head, which I'm telling you right now, We deal with people all over the country, and everywhere there is a current laden body of water with a lot of snags and a lot of fish, they buy a lot of tube heads. So,
Well, you know, and
Consider it.
one of the really big factors with that, George, and people don't think of this, but just take, for instance, our Susquehanna River, and you're fishing the Susquehanna River, and it's a beautiful May day, and you're out there fishing, and there's 4 or 5 boats going down the bank in front of you, and the water's up, and there's all these boats going down in front of you. What you got to understand is the majority of those people aren't fishing a weedless setup, and they're not casting into those real tight areas. So the weedless tube was designed to take a jig head and be able to throw back in those bushes, back in that flooded timber, back in those little pockets that, you know, the river's running really super dirty, and the pockets are settling out a little bit of the sediment a little clearer. So the minnows are back there, and the big smallies are back there right on the edge. This allows you to throw that bait into that cover and fish that submerged timber and bushes and sticks and grass and whatever, and pull it through there without hanging up. And everybody else is hitting the edge of it, the outside edge of it, because they won't throw back in that. So it's that's how cool and important that setup is. You can throw it to where people don't throw, and you're fishing fish that people aren't really fishing. So
I mean, it excels in current.
It's really good,
but it's very usable.
It's very usable
in all situations.
In cover, and that's my point with it. And that's what's always been my point with it. I guided with that tube head for a lot of years, and my customers I was able to have my customers throw in the bushes and catch fish that nobody else was pressuring, and that thing came through that stuff really good. And it was I just over and over and over, can't tell you how many times that jig head made that weedless jig head made such a difference in current situations in cover. So
one of the things
really
about
cool.
a tube
Really cool.
When you put the jig head inside the tube, you get a spiraling type fall. The other thing about it is one of the greatest skipping baits ever. So the ability to get into crazy,
nasty
places that you just can't get into. And I don't care if that's like crazy boat dock situations or whatever. You can skip that sucker like nobody's business. So, you know, this week's rig of the week, although simplistic,
phenomenal,
is important. Now, next week's rig of the
so
week
important.
Is going to be the opposite. Next week's rig of the week is going to be, let's just say, powerful. Powerful.
Love it.
Yep. Next week, don't miss next week's rig of the week, because it's going to be powerful.
Yeah. Well, you started talking about what was going on, George, and that you were such a happy camper all day today.
Well, I have
because the tournament circuits kicked off today.
I have some crazy stats, man.
Yeah.
Crazy stats. So last week, we had the One Bass Open.
That I want to hear about.
Okay, so that was crazy.
We talked about it last year.
We talked about it last year, and you and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, and then we said, "Oh my God!" It's like last year we talked about it.
Last
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And they did it again.
Last year was all kinds of 30-pound bags, out of control. This year, and this is the Clear Lake Open.
You got to hear these stats. This is crazy.
We had Ish here last week, and every other word he was talking was Clear Lake. He was telling me Clear Lake stuff for 2 straight days, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, day one, there was 4 bags over 30 pounds and 15 over 20.
God,
5 fish limit. Day 2, 4 bags over 30 and 19 over 20. Day 3, 9 bags over 30.
Getting better.
24 over 20. That's after, all the pressure of several days of pre-fishing, 2 full field days.
That normally doesn't happen.
No.
It goes the opposite way, doesn't it?
Well, it's it's not normal.
It's not normal.
It's a hell of a fishery.
Unbelievable.
Day one, big bag was 34.4. Day two was 36.79.
Oh my gosh.
Day three was 37.08.
Oh my gosh.
And how'd they catch him? They caught him with a spinning rod. The guy that won it had 98.37. He caught him on a 6-inch Z-Man scented jerk shad on a jig head on a medium powered NRX spinning rod, a 902.
Wow.
He scoped up
Wow.
98 pounds
3 days.
in 3 days.
Wow.
Imagine a spinning rod in your hands, a medium spinning rod
With an 8-pounder on the
with so many 8-pounders that you can't count them all. So many 7-pounders that you can't. I mean,
That's a great battle right
on
there.
a jig head.
What a phenomenal
On a
battle.
jig head.
Love it.
So, and he probably only used like one bag of minnows.
Yeah, with
Because
those.
these freaking things.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
That was a scoping event. Okay. Now I'm sure not everybody scoped. I'm sure there was guys throwing glide baits. That lake's famous for that this time of the year. I'm sure there was guys fishing shallow. That lake's famous for that this time of the year. But the guys that did that damage did it for the most part scoping. The guy that finished in third place had that 37-pound bag, and he had a 30-pound bag on day one. Day two, he only caught 14 pounds. So, I mean, yeah, incredible.
He stumbled.
And, we watched it last year because it's the first tournament of the year. We're like,
It's crazy.
jonesing. I mean, we're literally like,
We were ready to jump on a plane and head out there.
yeah, like, I mean, we're like crackheads needing a fix. It's like watching The Wire, man. Watching Bub score some yellow tops. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, today was the day one of the Bass Pro Tour on Guntersville. And this is impressive. And this is chatterbait,
Yeah.
rattle trap, lipless crankbait, chatterbait, lipless crankbait. They are allowed to use a scope for one period. There's 3 periods a day. They're allowed to use a scope for 1 period. I did notice that a lot of the top guys had their best period when they could scope, but they were still winding.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see a lot of minnow shakers. We saw chatterbait and we saw lipless. We saw jerkbait.
What was impressive to me was a massive cold front moved in like a couple days prior, like 3 days prior. And the day of the tournament is still in the 20s when they launched in the morning, and it wasn't supposed to get up to above freezing until mid-afternoon. So they had some pretty tough conditions, and they did this damage.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a little better.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little warmer tonight. It's only going to be like 38 tomorrow morning.
Break down those the cut line and all that stuff, because I didn't quite understand what they changed up to. It's a 50-something boat field now?
51
boat field.
Now, tomorrow, it's going to be a little warmer, like 38 overnight, a little warmer tomorrow. But then on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be in the 20s in the morning, even the teens on Sunday. So the problem is, and I feel like the lesson to be learned here is, we always talk about the 3-day rule in the winter. And we always talk about how important it is to catch that stable, improving conditions and how dismal it can be when they go the other way. I mean, that's kind of something that we talk about a lot. Here's a valuable lesson for us. Not always. And what I mean by that is there's a time, and it's in different regions, it's different times. But there's a time when these fish have had, a certain type of weather. And if you look at this area a couple weeks ago, it was beautiful for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shorts and T-shirts.
That warm?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And, you know, there's times, and I think the lesson to learn here is, for me anyways, there's times when you have those conditions and you're still in winter and those fish have committed to a certain point where they're not going to uncommit. These fish are being caught shallow.
Yeah.
These fish are being caught winding. These
Yeah.
fish will continue to be caught shallow. These fish will continue to be caught winding. Now, does that mean that one of these super scopers isn't going to go out and shake a minnow and catch a 25-pound bag? Not at all.
Mhm.
Not all the fish in a lake, especially a giant lake like that, do the same thing.
Right.
But keep an eye on your shallow power guys. Now, check these numbers out. Jeff Sprague, first place. This is just today. 108 pounds, 15 ounces.
Wow, that's pretty spectacular.
His last fish he caught with like 1 second to go was 5'10".
Golly.
Brent Erler, 108, 1 ounce.
Wow, that's close.
Okay, those guys are winding, and they're shallow. Jacob Walker, rookie, but a
Hammer.
a Gunnersville stud.
Yeah, he knows Gunnersville.
103.14.
Wow.
Okay, now I don't know if he's shallow or not. And then Bank Shaw, college student, still going to school, fishing the Bass Pro Tour, fishing the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, fishing Toyotas, fishing BFLs, going to class. I mean, my man is like living his best life. 88.9. Now, see, so now we're falling off. 5th place, the greatest Bass Pro Tour check casher of our life, Mr. Jacob Wheeler, one of the greatest bass fishermen to ever tie up a 7-foot medium spinning rod with a minnow.
Yeah.
83.13. Now, my point is, these fish are being caught multiple ways, but my point is, here's a situation that defies the 3-day rule.
Yeah.
So we have the 3-day rule amendment number 1. After an extended period of time where the 3-day rule usually ends at a cold front. It's like day 1, day 2, better. Day 3, awesome. Day 4, cold front, which is part of why day 3 was awesome.
Mhm.
Now, this was like 2 weeks. They kind of said, you know what? I don't know about you.
They made the change.
But I'm going over here.
Yeah, they started to make the change.
Did you see the birds working around Bank Shaw?
Yeah.
There was eagles diving on them. Now, I think the eagle was trying to eat the seagull, but, I mean, it was like an all-you-could-eat buffet.
Yeah.
And, they lowered the price. I mean, it was just, that's how it went down.
Yeah.
Like in buffet videos where they say, you got to leave now. You leave now. You eat 4 hour. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this Bank Shaw is all over that. So, lessons learned from tournament fishing is something we love to talk about. And today we learned a lot. Now, Mike wants a little breakdown on, Bass Pro Tour 4.0, the latest Boyd Duckett revision.
Yeah. What's the cut?
They whacked a bunch of guys last year.
Who's getting paid though in this event?
I got it for you, bro. I got you covered.
What's it all about?
It's all about last year, a bunch of people got handed a pink slip.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about your career that it didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, but my tournament circuit wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So you and 15 of your best friends.
Yeah. See ya.
Get off my island.
Yeah.
So we got 51 anglers.
Yeah.
We have no Group A, no Group B.
They're fishing for the cut.
51 anglers day 1, 51 anglers day 2.
Yeah.
Used to be 25
Right.
Group A,
Yeah.
25 Group B, 25 Day 2 Group A,
Yeah.
20. That's 4 days.
Yeah.
Now we're down to 2 days. Group A, no.
No.
All of them.
Yep.
Today, all of them tomorrow. Now, after tomorrow, we're going to take 25 to the knockout round. But actually, we're only going to take 24 because the winner tomorrow
Automatically goes.
is going to go to the championship. Now, I would like to say that guy should have the option to fish.
That would be day 4 then?
Day 3, the knockout round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would say that guy should have the option. Do you want to go straight to you want a day off? Because it didn't do the Phillies any good.
No.
Okay.
No.
You need to be out there doing your thing.
Getting a feel for what the fish are doing.
In my opinion, if you win
Yeah.
and skip the knockout round, you're being penalized.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they allow that. I don't know. But all 25 of those guys are getting paid $15,000 to the 25th place.
So below 25th, no check.
I'm not sure about that.
That's
It might be a minimal check.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, you're going to have to do some research. But I know 25th place gets $15K. That's good money.
That's good money.
Well, when you fire 15 guys, you got more money to play with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so heavy hitters is still in play. We had a 7-10 today.
Wow.
That's a good part of your heavy hitters bag.
That Guntersville produces fish, man.
Well, it's considered
Gosh.
one of the greatest lakes in the country, if not the greatest lake in the country.
Man, the management on it is amazing.
Well, it ain't Pennsylvania, bro.
No, it's unbelievable to have that year after year after year to produce, and the pressure. I mean, 300 boats on that lake at any one time is nothing. All the time.
There's like 60 tournaments on that lake a week.
Yeah, it's just the craziest thing. I mean, you go there in the weekend or during the week, and the boat ramps are full.
Well, after this, they're going to be full.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Yeah. So, couple takeaways. Tournament season's back. Okay.
Yeah.
We like that.
Yeah.
A lot of changes in the leagues, a lot of rule changes, right? So the Bass Pro Tour guys can only use their scope for one period.
Yeah.
The Bass Elite guys can use their scope for about half the number of tournaments.
Yeah, Guntersville's not one of them.
Yeah.
They're scopeless for that tournament.
Yeah.
Which ticked a lot of people off.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind being scopeless for that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 weeks away that we were talking today.
Yeah, well, first of all, the vast majority of the field in the Elite Series is like a Guntersville regular.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Tucker Smith, one of the greatest anglers on the planet, who's like 24 years old.
Yeah, he won the tournament without one.
Yeah, but
he won the
he
biggest.
lives there.
Yeah.
He fishes there all the time. He is dialed in. And the other thing is they went to a 28-day off limits period. No information period.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's less of these bull. And I don't even think they're polygraph tests, to be honest with you. I think they are truth detection tests.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a difference.
It's not even. I don't even want to go down that path anymore because I'm so sick of it.
I mean, I can tell you a story from years ago of a tournament circuit that couldn't afford a polygraph. They did truth detection, which was a new technology. And, you asked questions and you recorded the conversation and you sent it to a guy in Texas. And he analyzed it and texted you back. Good.
Yeah.
And you could ask him anything you want. I used to administer it all the time. I'd be like, who's the president? I always thought, like, I'd take him upstairs to a room, like when we fished at the bay, I'd go up to the conference room upstairs at the Naughty Goose. And what I wanted to do was like have a cigarette and be sitting in a chair with sunglasses on and take a big draw. You have anything you'd like to talk about? that kind of thing. But it was
Yeah.
it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm literally recording this on a phone
Yeah.
and then texting it.
Yeah.
And this was like the early days of texting.
Yeah.
I mean, what about that?
Yeah.
And that guy would listen to it, and he'd bill the tournament director,
Yeah.
and he'd say, "Yeah, they're good." I would ask, like, who's the president? What day of the week is it? What was the weather like today? Was it sunny or cloudy? Did you go into any off limits areas, and did you use live bait? Now, I'd ask stupid questions like that, and I'd send it off. And then I'd go down and tell tournament director everybody passed, which everybody passed every time.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's like, I mean, you need to have a polygraph professional examiner. If you're saving money on a polygraph, you're going to get these results like we saw the last couple of years.
Well, obviously it's been a little shady with them and with all this stuff. It's been shady. It's hurt the careers of some people, and
It's unacceptable.
It's just unacceptable.
Now, I'm sure some people did some stuff that they should be
I'm sure
penalized for, but are we going to get to the root of that with an inaccurate,
no.
outdated? I mean, I heard that some of these polygraph guys that they were using were like fired from being polygraph people, and they weren't even doing a polygraph. They were doing like a stress analysis.
Yeah. Forget about it.
I mean, I was making freaking questions up. Half the time, I didn't even send the shit off. I just like, okay, he's good. I mean, it was so bogus and outrageous. You know what I mean?
It was just terrible.
So I just don't
terrible.
understand where we're at. But the 28-day rule should help with that.
Yeah.
If you are a Bass Pro and you go to a gas station and tank your boat up, and an over exuberant fan comes out and just lays it on you before you have a chance to like
say
do anything.
Yeah.
But and they love you, and they're just like so excited to talk to you about their lake that you're on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, you got to go up to such and such creek and throw this green
Dude,
worm.
You can't
put whoa. Hey, buddy.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube,
No,
dog.
it's done.
Right?
It's out.
You ever put the toothpaste out and you get like this giant blob of toothpaste?
There's got to be
put it back in the tube.
We talked about it. There's got to be some kind of concessions or something, because these guys can't even like the guys that were here for Bass Fest. I just over and over you heard them. Hey, I'm not allowed to get any information.
I don't even want to say anything to them fishing related.
And you just we talked about hunting.
I talked to Ish about saltwater fishing.
Yeah.
Offshore.
Absolutely. And I talked with Stephen Browning about kayaking and canoeing and his trip down to Mississippi.
I didn't want to say anything about fishing because
reality TV life. I
could make a mistake and say something I don't even know.
Yeah,
I've never been to Guntersville, but I could screw the guy up. So, anyways, let's keep an eye on this, guys. Every week we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna have tournament talk. Tournament talk's back, baby.
Yeah,
tournament talk is back. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna try to learn something.
That's
like like one of our takes.
That's the important thing of it. I think George and I learned a lot of stuff off of watching these tournaments and how they make decisions and how, it's just important to talk about, what these guys are doing, because because it's real close to us coming up on that time in the year where we can apply that stuff. Some of you guys live down south, and you can start applying that right now, that style of fishing and what they're doing. And so we'll spend a little bit of time on that every week, and it'll help us with our education to, help us catch more fish. That's what it's all about.
I think we should do our own skit of our own lie detector test, with like smoke curling up through the air, dim lights.
What's up with the smoke with you?
It's like, do you ever see a movie where they're like,
yeah.
And then
did you
tell me, were you in Romney Creek today? Cigarette? Would you care for a cigarette?
Can I get you a drink? All right. Well, we're going to shut this thing down. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. And if you're around and you're available, stop by this Saturday for our Shimano Day. and all that's going to entail with some really cool specials and some really cool buys and some technology talk. So don't be afraid. Stop on by. It's going to be ugly weather. This is the place to be. We're going to have the TV on with some cool shows on. We'll probably be watching the tournament on the TV.
There ain't no probably about it, bro.
Yeah. We'll have that running for you.
Another TV will have a football game on it.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a